The UK is China's second largest trading partner in the EU, and traders are worried that a British exit from the Union could mean trouble. Zhang Bing's company manufactures steel kitchenware and exports 1/3 of its products to the EU, including the UK.
I think that if Britain decides to leave the EU, the sterling would go down and so would the euro. This would be seriously bad news for our products and our competitiveness. The euro might even depreciate after that. Some of our clients in Europe are very nervous about this issue. They are quite worried about the future, and so we are under a lot of pressure too. We do upscale products, so our profit margin is quite high. I think exporters of low-end products would be hit even harder.
Data from China's customs show that the country exported 370 billion yuan worth of goods to the UK in 2015, a 5.5% growth from the previous year. The UK was the only country among China's major trade partners in the EU to see an increase. China and UK has also strengthened cooperation in several areas since October last year, when President Xi Jinping visited the country. One professor who studies the relations between China and EU says, however, that he isn't too worried about the UK's upcoming decision.
My personal guess is that they are likely to stay in the EU, but the majority in favor of that is not substantial. So at some point, there is a possibility the UK will leave the EU. But bilateral trade and financial cooperation between China and the UK is very strong. And London is also the offshore center for RMB settlement. So I don't think a British exit would have much of an influence on the ties between China and the UK.
Professor Ye says that, however, if the UK decided to leave the EU, it might affect London's role as a financial center of Europe. Ratings agency Standard & Poor's has warned that a UK exit from the EU might endanger sterling's status as an international reserve currency and therefore threatens countries' credit ratings. The World Trade Organization says that if the UK decides to leave the EU, it will cost the country's consumers an extra £9 billion every year in import duties. Mi Jiayi, ICS for CCTV, Shanghai.